Alright, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Table Talk Thursday, episode 38.
New Year, this is the New Year special. New year, new me. New
not
days.
New Year, not yet.
After this week, I get kicked out. So I'm going to preface this with, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. We have, in theory, ideas. We'll show the microwave dish in a minute. We have ideas. We're IT men. We're going to try to make me have better internet.
Yeah. So we were planning to keep this show running. Folks, if a hurricane can stop us, a little move won't.
What do you say? As always, I'm your host, Park_1, with my co-host here.
Rating Death 999, that's Kenneth. And thank you, and we're going to begin our year in review. Today we'll go over some of the key hits and follows of 2017. And it is a mess, ladies and gentlemen, this year.
I'm going to let you start off with the very fun first thing. Okay.
Finish.
Look at the step bar. Okay, so this is the first thing.
So,
That's the idea.
we're going to use these two gigantic antennas, although it's not super huge, to send wireless signal across miles. Specifically about two, yes. And provide David with better quality service.
Better than ACT.
Yes.
10 out of 10. What about Kenneth best things
So to start us off, I'm going to start us off with one of the biggest things to happen to the world in the beginning of this year, which was Donald Trump's inauguration as the 45th President of the United States of America. So yes, he says right here, so Donald Trump was the 45th President in January. He was found capping his inauguration day, dancing and celebrating hours after being sworn in as the 45th President, vowing to rebuild the country using American hands. Look at these hands. They're mostly American. Yeah. He says the American carnage will stop here. He said it would strip away Washington's power, give it back to the people. You know, there's all that make America great again bullshit, draining the swamp, etc. Etc.
Etc.
Yes, as you know, folks, if you've seen our show, in the history of our great president this year, he's not drained the swamp, he's flooded the swamp. He took the swamp and moved it into the White House. You know.
Plot twist, he is the swamp.
Yes. I mean, with the recent tax cut that gives billions to the top 1%, to the top 1% of 1%, to foreign investors, more than the middle class or the bottom 40% of Americans. It's a hell of a way to start a year with a president who's hell-bent on destroying everything that Obama did and that former presidents did before him.
What? You said the former presidents before him, Bush?
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying that it was the former president before him?
No, I'm saying Donald Trump's doing things to destroy everything that his predecessors have done before him.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were going predecessors. I thought you said, like, Obama isn't the president before his, and I was like...
Yeah, no, I just mean, this entire storied history,
do you know how bad George Washington and any of the, like, original founding fathers are rolling in the grave right about now?
I'm sure they're quite upset. About a variety of things.
When she runs around, she hops around. She doesn't, like, run properly.
I've seen that.
I don't know why. Probably she's been cooped up in the house, you know.
I'm just seeing if there's any chat. But I can't see the chat windows.
Yeah, I see that. You don't need to see chat.
Nah.
Kenneth probably pay attention to chat. You know, that's actually a funny thing. Kenneth pays more attention to chat during the talks than he does in his own chat.
That's true.
And now my cat's in my chair. See, I told you she does that.
Yeah, her neck is looking pretty bad.
Huh?
Is that her neck? Mm-hmm. Looking very red.
I don't know if she was. There's just a couple spots.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look bad. Especially it looks a lot worse. It looks like it's getting better. Just looking at me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when cheating out of me like you were going to put her in my lap or something. I was like, that's the wrong person.
Yes.
Oh no, she can't even touch the road.
Yeah. Continuing on. So we're just going to go do this month by month, give a timeline of events of 2017, as well as any updates to the stories that have happened in that time. This is going to be just a brief, quick, I say quick, but it'll still be a normal time show of everything boiled down in 2017.
I actually just thought about some special news towards the end. The best news. Ken doesn't know. I can think of it right off the bat. Okay. Easy. I believe in you. Now, just that look of, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
Not a clue.
Makes me sad. I don't know. To figure it out at the end of the show.
Eventually.
And then you die. I do that. I'm just trying to clean you real quick.
Anyways, so moving on. Istanbul attacks, unfortunately, right on
Unfortunately.
New Year's Day of the beginning of this year. Started off for the people of Istanbul under an ISIS nightclub shooting.
Oh, yeah.
While throngs of people were out celebrating New Year's Day, including many in a nightclub, ISIS has claimed responsibility for a New Year's attack in Istanbul's Regina nightclub that left 39 people dead. Witnesses described the festival turned into a bloodbath. We were having fun at first. I first thought it was a fight, and then there was lots of gunfire.
I thought it was a fight, but then there was bang bang.
Good footage. Footage of the attacker showed him shooting a security guard and police officer at the entrance of a nightclub. Turkish authorities said they believe he carried out the attack alone. And as they said, ISIS claimed responsibilities.
They were claiming responsibility for everything, though, on top of that.
Yes, they have. Anything where there's anything.
You're getting at the top. It's ISIS's fault.
Tweet at ISIS, I'm sure they'll respond. Like, yes, we cause your internet outage for the caliphate.
We caused your internet to go out because you are capitalist scum or whatever, or fucking Western scum.
Yeah, Western capitalist American pigs.
Because you are the Western dogs.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to a bit of high-profile news. I'm skipping February and March because our show wasn't in existence then. So any of that news that happened didn't really matter.
Why did you get the Trump's inauguration stuff?
Because that was a major world event that happened. And it's important.
Did nothing else important happen during this?
Not really. I looked at everything in January, and that was the biggest thing. And the nightclub shooting. That was also at the top, of course, because it happened in New Year's.
Yeah, alcohol.
So what are we drinking today?
Santo Muscali de Asti. Good.
Yeah, it's good. Throwing off the camera's focus.
I know. But
Make sure it's cold.
it's not cold. It's warm. Do you want it to be cold?
I mean, the glass feels cool, so should be
It's
fine.
definitely warm. I didn't put it in the fridge.
Yeah, sure it's fine.
Cat, what are you doing?
She's like, okay, fine.
She's gonna jump back in my lap.
Anyways, to continue on to April, one of the earliest stories that we covered
There.
in April. The bumping and beating of Dr. David Dow.
Ah, yes. That was one of our very first stories this year. I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. I guess.
Yeah.
Does Pepperidge Farm remember? That's the real question.
Hard to forget.
Yep.
The brutal video of Dr. David Dow. As it says, on April 9th, 2017, United wanted to bump 4 passengers from the United Flight 3411 from O'Hare to Louisville, Kentucky. The stated goal was to make room for 4 United employees. The airline offered compensation of up to $400 in flight vouchers and then doubled it, but there were no takers. reportedly because it was the last flight of the day. 4 passengers were selected to be involuntarily bumped. 3 complied, but Dr. David Dow refused, saying he had to be at work at the hospital the next day. Airport security was called, and Dow was yanked out of his seat, screaming. Dow's face hit an armrest and he struggled. He was dragged unconscious and with a bloody mouth down the aisle and off the plane. Of course, the passengers filmed the spectacle on their phones and images, and the outrage quickly went viral.
Internet, man. It's the beauty and the, well, not beauty of it. Beauty and what's the opposite of beauty?
Yeah, you want to click on that link so we can show a video of it.
This one?
Yeah.
Let's see. The article.
I think there should be a video there somewhere down here.
Scrolling.
Okay, there's not.
Don't see anything.
Okay, well, let's just pull up a video really quick. Shouldn't be too difficult.
What's this? Fucking David Dow.
Yeah.
David Dow video.
There we go.
Multiple perspective shots, apparently.
Yes.
So just do that mode real quick while we get over here and make sure this is correct, which it never is. We go here and the properties, boom, it's correct. Look at that, always, every single time. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright, then we're ready to fade.
Let's go.
Fade. Beautiful. Good shit.
Alright, so let's roll this video so we can give people an idea of what happened to Dr. David Dow.
Is there audio here? Some audio? No? Why is it muted again? See, I saw this problem earlier where it decided to mute itself.
Maybe there's just no audio.
No, definitely my audio muted itself.
They rent a car from the pilots and have
There you go. Oh my gosh.
What the fuck?
Hey, she's trying to, they just dragged him out of the seat.
Come on. Oh, this is
Busted
wrong.
his
Oh
lip.
my god, look at what you did to him. Oh my god.
God damn. Just dragged that poor man out.
Guys, good work. Way to
It
go.
was like, good work, guys. Way to go.
Oh my
Yeah, the police grabbed the guy.
goodness.
He's an older doctor. He wouldn't get off the plane.
Yes, so that, ladies and gentlemen, was poor Dr. David Dow. And then here's him, he got back onto the plane, and you can see he's disoriented, he had just a concussion, he's bleeding. Poor man barely knows where he is.
Just kill me. Just kill me. Kill me. Just kill me. I have to go home.
Yeah, so chipped numerous teeth and such.
Just kill me. Just kill me.
So, yep. Anyways,
Well, no. No! Fuck you!
yeah. So that was Dr. David Dow.
I
Poor
love how
man
my
is-
hair is just all pulled back beautifully.
So he sued United and got an undisclosed millions.
You're right. Good call.
Is it still David Dow?
It's still dead by dead. I changed the title and everything, but I left it that. Alright, so we're gonna go to IRL. That's what we're gonna start doing. We're starting to stream in the IRL category, boys. Still gonna do web show here, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was still with Stick Fight. It never updated from to Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, web station.
There we go. Now we're in IRL. Are we in IRL? Let me refresh.
Supposedly.
We are in IRL. There we go.
Alright.
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. Random internet person.
Now it's Dakota.
No, I can't see the name from here. That red on black background is impossible.
Not for me. I see that really well.
Okay. You're also right there.
All I see is red. It's a red on black crime. Oh, yes. Back to the fun things. Paris gunman known to security services. Source that CNN. So back in April as well, there was the Paris,
Paris
terrorist
shooting.
shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an article where it says the man who killed the police officer in Champs-Élysées Thursday night was known to French security services and had shot and wounded an officer in the past, a source close to the investigation told CNN. The suspect who was shot dead by French police was on the radar of the French Domestic Security Services, GGSI. Man, why don't we have those people in the Rainbow Six Siege? Probably because they're bad, obviously, if they were on the radar. Didn't catch this guy. The shooting happened about 9 p.m. local time, 3 p.m. Eastern, when a car stopped at 102 Champs-Élysées in front of a police van. Interior Ministry spokesperson Pierre Henry Brandon said, or Brande. It's probably Brande, because it's French. A man emerged from the car and opened fire on the van with an automatic weapon, killing one officer instantly. He said the man then ran away, managing to shoot and wound 2 other policemen. Other policemen engaged and shot and killed the attacker.
Yes. Yes, as we covered this story, the Paris gunman just came up to one of Paris's iconic landmarks and then proceeded to shoot and kill an officer. And he was then gunned down himself by those same officers. They also closed off the Champs-Élysées and surrounding city blocks. They were determining what happened.
Wasn't like most of Paris closed down?
Most of Paris has been closed down at some point or another due to a variety of terrorist attacks that have happened. Yes. I mean, Paris itself, there's a lot of police and military presence there. I don't know if it's still going on, but I know it's been there for most of the year. Because of all these terrorist attacks that have happened.
Didn't they have the whole van thing? Was it
No,
this
that
year?
was London, but that was this year. It's
Well,
later on.
no, they had a van plow through people in Paris too. There's like been vans plow through people, and
Okay, there was the truck that plowed through people in Germany. There was the London Bridge van. There was... I don't remember the other van.
I'm sure the other van was Paris.
There was the New York van.
I remember there was a New York one.
And there was also that... Well, that was the truck. Well, actually, there was 2. There's a New York truck, and there was a van.
The New York truck was more recent.
The
That
New
was
York truck
Home
was more
Depot
recent,
one.
yes, the Home Depot one. But there's also a New York van incident. So,
AKA, I'm going to make the jokes because I like guns. What are you going to do, government? You going to ban vehicles? Ha ha! What are you doing? Looking for it?
no, I'm adding this into there.
Is that a video? So it is. Earlier this year, we heard the FCC's new chair, Ajit Pai, was planning to roll back net neutrality. As we all know more recently,
It's
Couldn't
happened,
cover that.
ladies
It
and
happened.
gentlemen. Yes,
um,
in a tragedy to face the nation and the world at whole, net neutrality is dead.
Ajit Pai, the Trump-appointed chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, laid out plans to limit the agency's oversight of internet service providers, potentially weakening enforcement of net neutrality, which
And as I
they
said,
eliminate
it's
it entirely.
So let's watch this little video. Give us an idea of who Ajit Pai is. We have great production values, folks.
Right?
Sorry. There we go.
It's on 480 this time.
So he's from India, raised in Kansas. He looks like an idiot in all these pictures. It's not a surprising move. Yeah, so he worked with Senator Sessions, who's now Attorney General Sessions. He was, of course, legal counsel for Verizon, and he clearly hasn't outgrown that.
Yep.
And, yes. And the thing is, and that's part of it, I'm disappointed in Obama, because he was put into place by Obama. And that's disappointing.
We're constantly developing new technologies and services, but too often, they are unable to bring them to market for consumers because outdated rules or regulatory inertia stand in the way.
Yeah, then.
Wrong.
Wrong. Is it correct? Wrong. I'm gonna do a Trump thing. Wrong. He's wrong.
That was a good pause, though.
It,
His face. Beautiful.
I maintain that nobody looks good at any time being paused. Yes. Well, surprisingly not.
It's too much concentration of power in the hands of too few.
What's funny is, Trump's totally on board with the media merger between, who is it? Didn't Disney buy out Fox? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Well, it's still in talks. Just to go through the FCC and the FTC.
Well, if Ajit Pai's in the FCC, he's not going to give a fuck. Watch him just be anal about television.
There we go.
Yep.
I love that. He's described as a defender of First Amendment freedoms. The fuck he is.
First Amendment only for his purposes.
Mm-hmm.
What? Researchers into what?
Newsrooms?
What is that? What? Why would you deny that? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with people researching what goes on in your newsroom?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, so he has a problem with it. Yes. And he's got to be reconfirmed as a commissioner and
because
as chairman.
it's going to be like, I'm going to call it right now. He did great things. He did away with that net neutrality thing. He's a great person.
He opened up American ISPs to innovation and increased network spending and making America great again.
So can the FCC go back on what it said and like
Yeah, they can do it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because these are rules set in place by them, they can change it at any time.
Yeah, so
that's part of the problem is that because it is with the FCC, they can change it and get rid of it.
Yeah, which is why now some
leadership changes.
Some states are like we were talking about.
Yeah.
There's state senators that are pushing to sue with their.
I mean, a lot of states. As we've covered these stories in more recent weeks, I would say it's about 9 or 10 states so far are currently on the bandwagon to sue the FCC for their repealing net neutrality.
Just so. It's okay. Not anymore. Here in review.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Face though. Looks like he's got some fucking perfect lips for kissing that ass. Beautiful. My hair looks weird. Like flows from the side of my head to the back of my head.
Yeah, and it is. And then mine's just to the back.
Yeah. It's to the point where I can fucking do my hair. Where I can almost do a ponytail.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyways, so moving on. So as we began in May, as we covered in the beginning of the year, is that Flint, and due to their increasing water crisis due to lead in the water, has prevented most of the city from being able to drink the water. It's also led to rash outbreaks of skin conditions, mental conditions, health conditions. I mean, it's destroyed the health and reliability of the people of Flint because of lead. It does terrible things to your brain chemistry.
A lot of things. Chemicals are bad for you. Who would have thought the chemicals are bad for you? This year, we figured out the chemicals are in fact bad for you.
But anyways, so in May we found out that Flint was going to put liens on people's houses for not paying their water bill. Their water, which at this point was still toxic. It says here, so thousands of people at Flint were at risk of losing their homes due to foreclosure if they didn't pay up on their water bills. After putting out shut-off notices, the water is threatening to put tax liens on people's homes. More than 8,000 people got the same notice for not paying more than 6 months or more of their water bill. Which again, makes people shouldn't be expected to pay for toxic water they're not using.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous thing. The city justifies it in saying that they're in a bind and they need cash. They're saying, we have revenue coming in, so we can't give people revenue. I mean, excuse me, give people water at the top and not revenue coming in to pay those bills. They're saying that if they were able to get the 8,000 people to pay the water bills, they'd get over $6 million in revenue that the city desperately needs. It's still a ridiculous thing. I don't care what the city has to do to justify it. You can't have people pay for toxic water.
No, you can't. can't have people pay for coffee water. Yeah. I can't drag that down. Okay. Whatever. The EPA removes half of scientific board seeking industry line replacements. Ah, yes, I remember when this happened. It was a part of the whole slew of Trump regime change things, where basically all the smart people got ousted.
Yep.
And then everybody was like, hey, let's start doing all this shit. Everything is good. Everything is awesome. There's no such thing as science anymore. And then that continues even today with the whole banned words thing. We didn't cover that story, did we?
No. It may not have been entirely true.
Oh, really?
So I didn't put it in.
Interesting.
The first banned word story was, but not this latest one.
Anyway, still was a ban originally. There was a ban on, saying any of that stuff in social media, though. It's not that they didn't ban it entirely, but they banned, basically what's saying that climate change exists and stuff like that, I think was the deal. Yeah.
I mean, here, there's that whole, Rogue National Parks Twitter
Yeah.
that started because of this.
It was Rogue National Parks. I think they had a Rogue NASA. They had a Rogue a lot of things.
Yep.
Because of this.
Everybody's going rogue and saying scientific facts.
Yep. Anyway, the Environmental Protection Agency has eviscerated, one of my favorite words, a key scientific review board by removing half its members and seeking to replace them with industry-aligned figures, according to the bond's chair. Scott Pruitt, the EPA administrator, has chosen not to renew the terms of 9 of 18-member board of scientific counselors, which advise the EPA on the quality and accuracy of the science it produces. The group, largely made up of academics, is set to be replaced by representatives from industries that the EPA regulates. Deborah Schwackhammer.
The same people who you're putting in regulations and who you're trying to viciously fight against them and sue the EPA and a dozen different things, you're trying to put them into your advisory board. So that way they can change policy and legislation as they choose.
Yep. The group largely made up of, the Deborah Schwackhammer, chair of the board, said that other planned departures, the panel was left with 5 members, including her, in the midst of the EPA hiring freeze. The bidding has been eviscerated, she told The Guardian. We assured these people would be renewed, and there was no reason or indication they wouldn't be. These people aren't Obama appointees, they're scientific appointees. To have a political decision to get rid of them was a shock. Welcome to real life.
Welcome to Trump's America.
I just welcome to real life. It happens anywhere you go. Anytime a new crew comes in, they usually fire everybody. Or get some excuses to fire people.
Yeah.
If they're a terrible manager. Let me
Which
rephrase that.
clearly Scott Pruitt is.
I mean,
Rex Tillerson is.
I'm also
State
talking about,
Department.
your current working environment.
I mean, yes, sure, they're trying desperately.
Except for everyone only includes you.
Yes.
For some
Everyone is only me. So, as we also saw in Christmas of last year, but this is an ongoing update to the story that came out, was that the Berlin police covered up the missed chance to prevent the Christmas market attack. So German authorities were investigating the explosive allegations of the police cover-up. The Berlin regional government filed criminal charges against 2 of its own police officers, alleging that they falsified documents to cover up a missed opportunity to arrest Emir, who was the person who perpetrated the Berlin Christmas attack, more than a month before the attack. 12 people were killed and more than 60 injured when Emir drove...
Amir? Is that an Armory?
Armory, yes.
I was going to say, it's not Amir. The I and the R place.
The M and R I kind of...
Kenneth, do you have dyslexia? Is that what it is? Is that called derpslexia?
Yes, Omri drove a lorry, which is a British term for truck,
Yeah.
into a packed Christmas market last December. According to the new allegations, the police had evidence to arrest Omri for drug dealing more than 6 weeks earlier, but didn't act. Surveillance of his phone calls found that he was not only a potential threat, but also that he was involved in large-scale drug dealings. So yes, it's terrible that the German authorities didn't step in and use their powers to possibly prevent a terrorist attack before it happened. And that we're finding out about evidence that they could have done it after the fact.
Interesting. And then we have the next one up, was the Chelsea Manning prison release. after 7 years. Chelsea Manning was released from the U.S. disciplinary barracks at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, after 7 years of incarceration. The former Army intelligence analyst was originally sentenced to 35 years for leaking approximately 750,000 secret documents to WikiLeaks in 2010 and disrupting international diplomacy. Her sentence was commuted in January by Barack Obama. It's like, well, we're fucking liars. It's probably okay.
And it's like, well, we've held you in there for 7 years, so that's enough time. Because he will have been calling on her, on Obama to commute and pardon Chelsea Manning's sentence for years, obviously. 7 years.
Yeah, because didn't she shed light on a lot of bad shit?
Yeah, she leaked the diplomatic cables. That's where WikiLeaks really came into prominence, was those cables, at least into the normal knowledge, was from these diplomatic cables that came out, which basically showed America's insight into our international diplomacy efforts, and also how we were bugging embassies and offices in the UN and other places.
Yeah. Which, well,
and then Germany got outraged because we were bugging Germany's offices.
Yeah, it's kind of not, it's one of those things where I was like, it's kind of obvious that, the UN home is in the United States, so of course we're going to do shady shit. I'm not sorry, but to people that don't know our country's full of some shady motherfuckers, our country's full of shady motherfuckers. We are one of the most shady fucking groups of people, but primarily because we're American, we can literally do whatever the fuck we want and get away with it. That's the mentality.
I mean, some people call us the world's only superpower.
Because we are. That's
why China.
That's why every time you're like, I don't think the U.S. would do that. The UN would get onto them. And I look at Kenneth and I'm like, who in the UN would
the UN should get onto them.
Who's gonna challenge us? Turkey? Ha! Russia? Ha! China? No, we owe them too much money. And they make all of our shit. They're never gonna challenge us.
No, they're never gonna challenge us because if they did, it'd be a diplomatic and financial nightmare for both countries.
Yep.
Mainly China.
It would be an economic collapse.
Of China.
Well, not of just of China, but of the entire world. At that point, if we collapse China and we collapse, everybody else goes with us.
Yeah.
That's literally the world.
But I'm saying we wouldn't collapse if we just took down China.
Oh, I feel like I don't know how that would work. I guess we would just go. All of a sudden, the U.S. owes no money to nobody. Our price and our value goes up.
Actually, it'd go down dramatically.
Huh?
It'd go down dramatically.
Why? If we don't owe people money, wouldn't our value go up?
No, because if we don't owe China money, like if for some reason we went to war with China and just destroyed China, we would lose.
Well, first of all, nobody would start producing anything. Well, no, it's like, oh no, they make half of the parts for our goods. They make half of the everything.
Yeah.
Like if we destroyed China, who would make all of our shit that nobody wants to make?
No. The made in China would suddenly made in Taiwan.
Would we just give like half of China to Taiwan then, or something?
No, Taiwan would just still retain its territorial boundaries, but it's things in China would still be made in China. But then China would just off-brand them as Taiwan.
Yes, I don't know.
So it's like, look, we took out our debt with China, we took out China, but Taiwan's booming.
Jesus. Oh no, the North Koreans will come back across the border. Everything will be North Korean made. It'll be the best, worst thing ever.
Well, at least we can destroy North Korea at that point, with nobody to defend them. That's out of Russia.
Literally, it would just be like, we'd go into China, and then we'd just kind of accidentally go down into North Korea. Yeah. I'm sorry, the war just kind of flowed down that way.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm sure if we attack China, though, Russia would step in. It'd be World War III, literally.
Yep. So, continuing on. God, this is a crazy year. Including multiple terrorist attacks. Beginning, another terrorist attack that happened in London, or in Manchester, was the Manchester suicide bomber. Detectives are probing a network linked to the Manchester suicide bomber, Salman Bedi, police have confirmed, as well as his father and brother have been detained. 22 people were killed in a blast at the Manchester Arena on the Monday night of this attack, including an 8-year-old girl and an off-duty female police officer, moments after the US singer Ariana Grande finished performing around 10:30 p.m. And Prime Minister Theresa May raised the UK's threat level to the highest possible rating, and almost 1,000 troops were deployed to key areas around Manchester and the country. Folks, this is a tragic terrorist attack that happened. And I know Ariana Grande, bless her heart, came out and and offered to pay for the funerals of the people who were killed and provide support to the families of people injured. She really went above and beyond to show her love for her fans and the people who were injured during the attack.
Which is great. I'm glad there were some good things to come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's going on with stuff here? Stuff tagged in. Oh, right. Now on to June. Trump withdrew us from the U.S. Paris Climate Agreement, which we talked about a lot then. As another one of these. Man, it's just like all the stupid shit Trump did in 2017. Jeez. The United States withdrew from the Paris Climate Accord, but we're supposed to. We're going to begin negotiations to re-enter the Paris Accord, or an entirely new transaction on terms that are fair to the United States. The president said in the
AOL's website's terrible.
Huh?
I'm trying to open up this article on AOL's website, and it is not mobile compatible whatsoever.
Jeez.
Like there's the article buried behind ads. Like that's some of the article there, and some of the article behind here.
Jeez.
No, this is horrible.
Apparently Shadow's very posh. What Shadow is? I think he's making fun of you. I'm not sure.
Whatever.
Mr. Posh. Ooh. So we are getting out, but we are starting to negotiate, and we'll see if we can make a deal that's fair. All implementation of the non-binding portions of the agreement will cease to be enforced by the United States, he said. So yeah.
And as an update to this, we are the only country in the world not a part of the Paris Climate Agreements. Literally every country, including North Korea, Somalia, and Syria, are a part of the Paris Climate Accords. America is alone in being stupid.
America's alone in being America.
No, America's alone in being Trump.
In being Trump.
There's just folks get one of those apps that replaces one word with the other and just replace stupid with Trump. It'll work.
There you go.
Continuing on with coverage of June, another terrorist attack occurred. This one...
Terrorist attack were declared.
Terror.
Yeah.
The London Bridge attack. Police arrest 12 after 7 killed in the British capital. So some people were killed in what London police are calling 2 terrorist incidents at the London Bridge and Borough Market. Police believe 3 suspects were involved and all of them shot dead.
Yes. The after story. Yep. I was like, I already know what's going to happen here.
ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack, of course. Police respond to a vehicle reportedly running into pedestrians at London Bridge. The suspects exited the vehicle and began stabbing individuals at Borough Market.
And to continue that story, we had got some news coverage of a defiant man. Defiant battle cry of hero footy fan hailed Lion of the London Bridge after single-handedly fighting Machete terror trio with bare fists before mates send him learn to run handbook in hospital.
Let's roll the video.
And we're going to roll the video, yes. It's beautiful. Beautiful man. He's truly a living meme today for us.
Well, from the night they was coming in, they was kicking the door in the black and blue after the bouncer shut it. 3 of them, and machetes, come in. But the first instance was, they started going, all that blah 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 things. I don't know why I did it, but I went blah 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 back, and they said, you. You're not getting in here. Millwall, in an arsehole top one. And I was stopping them getting into the restaurant to stop them attacking the children and families in there. It's happened in about 20 seconds. As I got them out of the black and blue, the police were firing them straight away. So, for me stopping them getting into and hurting more people, and for them being shot around me, I feel quite proud of myself. doing what I did. I've got slashes to the arms and hands, stabbed in the side of my stomach, and chest. I've got slashes on my neck, head, and the ear hole coming off. But I'm determined not to let them move. Determined. And glad, luckily, they've died by me, which was one of the best feelings ever.
Yes, this is the fuck you, I'm Millwall guy. That is? Yep. He's like, yeah, blah, 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 fuck you.
Like,
I'm Millwall. Yeah.
I don't know why I bet, but I didn't know. It's like, fuck you, I'm not getting in here. I'm Millwall.
Yep. Beautiful.
Ah, yes.
The fuck you, I'm Millwall guy. This is, like I said, a
surely the line of London Bridge.
Yep.
Brave man. Crazy baby.
He obviously.
I mean, he was drinking that day. He said he did that after he got like 4 or 5 pints in him.
Yep. Which is just glasses of beer for them.
Yes.
Yeah. Now on to news that happened in July. Yes, the massive Grenfell Tower issue. Massive fire engulfs London. Good sir, I think there's too much wine in my house. Are you offering to send us some good wine? Because, I mean, I'll accept some. I like wine-ish, as long as it's good. I mean, I don't want to die. But I also know that, you know, if it's terrible and Kath won't drink it, I'll make a deal where even if it's terrible, I'll chug it.
Try to avoid reds. We drink white wines mostly.
Yeah.
Because...
I hear there's some good reds, though. I've never found them. we specifically drink Moscato d'Asti most of all.
Yep. It's a nice, light, sweet wine.
Why is the bubbles continually coming? Is there a hole in the bottom of the bottle? It's just bubbly.
It's just a combination.
Weird. But yes, massive fire engulfs a London high-rise, leaving at least 12 dead. Massive fire engulfs a residential high-rise building in London, leaving at least 74 people injured and 12 dead. The London Fire Brigade dispatched at least 40 fire engines, 20 ambulance crews, and more than 200 firefighters in an effort to battle the conflagration at the 24-story Grenfell Tower in West London. Authorities said they are monitoring the stability of the charge structure, but that firefighters managed to search most of the building for remaining people.
Yes, as we covered, we did cover the story and repeated follow-ups. Mm-hmm. The company that manages the Grenfell Tower is being sued for manslaughter and such because of their failure to appropriately address the tower and its repairs.
He's saying that he can see about sending us some Amora, just Amora, or is it Amor, which is Italian white wine that has a fruit taste. Go for it. You don't have to send anything. Don't feel obligated to anything or anything like that. But I mean, sounded like an offer.
I mean, if you want to, feel free.
Either that or you were making a joke about us always drinking wine and me always drinking wine. It's just something. I always drink on the Thursday show. I'm not an alcoholic. Except for on Thursdays.
Except Thursdays. I mean, and it's just one bottle we go through.
Oh yeah, we're going to drink this, and then we're going to sit here and point dishes at each other. And this will be great.
We're going to get some plates and just...
Jeez.
Anyways. So this, I mean, this is where it all really began, right here. As far as the whole statue business.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. The NAACP in July 13th began its effort to remove Confederate statues from Hamilton County Courthouse. The Chattanooga County of the NAACP began its effort to remove the statues. The move comes after a similar number of efforts across the country in the last couple of years. They said the group plans to write letters to local leaders asking for the statue of Alexander P. Stewart, a Confederate Lieutenant General, to be moved. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was really part of what kicked off the whole big effort around the country to start removing it. Because of the backlash that happened and the people that came out and such. I mean, this was, the match that lit the powder keg.
What's that?
Kind of thing. And I mean, as we've covered throughout, these many weeks, this has gotten rather insane on what happened with the statue removals.
On to the next story. Along the lines of all of the legal weed sales, This year, legal pot sales began in Uruguay under a landmark 2013 law. Uruguay. Call it Uruguay. Uruguay. Haha! Marijuana aficionados, aptly named, lined up at pharmacies across Uruguay on Wednesday to be among the first in the South American nation to legally buy pot, as a law regulating its sale took full effect.
Not only were they the first in South America, they were... Oh, yeah, no, they were one of the first... I don't know. Like, they were one of the first to, like, make it really publicly accessible nationwide. Like, you know, the Netherlands... Oh, no, but the Netherlands has Amsterdam, but Amsterdam's a single city. But I think if I remember correctly...
Well, the Netherlands is also small.
Yes.
Like, much smaller than Texas. So, single city, and it's kind of relatively...
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I believe...
Uruguay is pretty small, too, I think.
Yeah, I believe Uruguay was the first nation in the world to buck U.S. policy and legalize marijuana nationwide. I think that's its distinction.
I think it's possibly true, yeah. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while, folks.
I don't even remember half of these stories, to be fair. I just remember the funny ones. Or the ones that I read, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's basically how it works. If I don't read it, I don't remember it. If I don't see it, I don't remember it. So if I don't read it, there you go. Yes. Customers sniffed pungent green buds and grinned as they showed off blue and white envelopes containing the plant, which is now available as part of a 2013 measure that made Uruguay the first nation to legalize a pot market covering the entire chain from plants to purchase. That's also the big deal, is they cover the entire chain from plants to purchase.
So that way nobody can get in, like...
Yeah. Whereas
cartels and such.
Over here they have it where, like, it goes from plants and then doesn't have to go through, like, tobacco distributors or some shit.
It depends on the state. States have different regulations around it. Mm-hmm. Some people sell directly from the manufacturers to the distributors, which are also, well, the distributors, as in the actual front people, not just distribution groups.
Not just
because I know
your old school plug.
Yeah, because I know in manufacturing and marketing terms, those are different things.
Yes.
But, yeah. I mean, it's very good for Uruguay, and they control the percentages of, you know, THC and CBD and all that jazz. But yeah, no, it's a very interesting thing for them to see. And of course, the United States is like, we're going to cut off all aid if you don't follow our, you know, guidelines on marijuana. And they're like, okay, do it, bitch.
Do it, motherfucker. Fine, jeez. Oh my god, I'm spelling.
Maybe you pour too much in.
Huh?
So you either pour too much in or you're already drunk.
Give me an keys, you're drunk. I am neither.
Why should listen to me? I'm drunk. Tragedy strikes Linkin Park.
Yep.
As Chester Bennington died at 41. He was Linkin Park's lead singer, as we did during that story, played a very famous Linkin Park song in commemoration of
and my entire fucking video got muted. On YouTube.
Yeah. I
tried to fight back against it. I don't know if it works.
Probably not.
Warner Brother Records is pretty anal. Should they sign over?
Yeah. So yes, he was found dead on Thursday, July 20th. According to a spokesperson from LA County Coroner, being 41. They ruled out homicide, treating it as a suicide case. They were called at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I believe he hung himself.
And some good news.
One of these good news that always happens. I love seeing these like bikers do shit. In August, more than 50 Indiana bikers escorted a bullied 6th grader to middle school. A group of more than 50 bikers in northeastern Indiana stepped in to help when they found out a local 6th grade student was having trouble with bullying, according to Wixon, which is one of the local news stations. Mm-hmm. Tammy Mick, the mother of DeKalb Middle School student Phil Mick, that fucking last name,
I know that last name,
said it got so bad he told her he contemplated suicide. She spoke with Brent Warfield of KDZ Motorcycle Sales and Service about it, and Warfield immediately stepped in to help. Warfield is the director of United Motorcycle Enthusiasts, and he told Wixon he's been hosting charity rides for years. He's been working to raise awareness about bullying and teen suicide, so he decided to organize a special ride for Phil on his first day of middle school. Which, like, honestly, That's pretty cool. Like, give
Yeah.
you some props.
No,
to
that's-
some
yeah,
kids.
that's
well,
absolutely
except for the
fantastic.
whole, like, hey, I'm being bullied, whatever. Some of
Yeah,
the kids,
being
the
bullied
bullies are
and
probably be like,
being
yeah,
pushed to
look at you.
suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, everyone else would be like, dude, it's pretty badass. You got, like, a bunch of bikers to come take you to school.
Mhm.
I always like those kind of stories where bikers just pull together and do stuff. Because, like, the whole, ideology behind bikers, they're a bunch of, like, tatted up dudes, like, scruffy,
Yeah.
fat, bearded men, kind of like me, with sunglasses, and they drive, like, Harleys and shit. But, like, some of them are really nice.
Mhm.
Like Mr. Tennis. Mr. Tennis doesn't look like a biker, but he is.
Hmm.
He rides for Toys for Tots and stuff with the local people. He does a lot of cool shit. So yeah, there's that.
That's definitely good. So here we are, Charlottesville. Finally made it, folks.
Yes.
One of the biggest events that happened during this whole statue right versus the left events that occurred. And we're going to watch a video on it and it'll give us a good overview about what happened. So let's roll the video.
White
So here we have
nationalists and counter-protesters blamed each other for the violence that erupted in Charlottesville on Saturday. Protesters also blamed the police for not keeping the peace. Amateur
Now, part of what happened there, when they say the protesters blamed the police for not doing enough to keep the peace, it did come out in later weeks that the police were told to pull back in certain areas.
They were told specifically not to, or specifically not to do it.
Oh, was that in a different event? Because there's been a couple of these interactions with police.
That was one where a mayor was charged. I think it was Charlottesville because it was during the time where all this shit was going on.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, basically to try and drum up support for, people, police. Because, if the police pulled back and these events happened, it'd give the city
Was it
more...
Charlottesville? No, it might have been another one where they were fighting. More recently, it was with the nuns and shit. I thought.
No, this is the one with the nuns.
Oh, well, yeah, it was Charlottesville.
Yeah. It'd give the city more credence to get rid of the statues to prevent increasing strife in the city.
Yeah, basically they wanted a fight to break out in it, so.
The video from many angles over the course of the day paints a picture of how events turned violent. Early Saturday morning, white supremacists gathered at McIntyre Park in Charlottesville.
Which they had lawful
Around
permits
the
to be
same
there.
time, counter-protesters met at a church 2.5 miles away. Both groups marched toward Emancipation Park in downtown Charlottesville, the site of the planned far-right rally. Several men wearing National Guard-style military gear were present. The first outbreak of violence was reported at 10:30 a.m. More clashes happened before 11 a.m. The use of pepper spray was reported.
I'm honestly surprised that those dudes in the National Guard, like those dudes there, didn't shoot. But I guess they didn't need to shoot. They had, I guess, basically gun control. If someone had brought out a gun, I don't doubt they would have shot that person. But since nobody else was shooting, I'm gonna have to honestly come out and give those dudes props because they could have just been angry and mowed people down, but they didn't. It's kind of good on them.
I mean, for them coming out there in that kind of garb, it could confuse people.
That too.
If you're going to somebody for help, and then, they're not with you, and it leads to dangerous situations, or it can.
Yeah, but that's their right. They're allowed to open carry and dress however they want. So,
Are they in Charlottesville?
You're allowed to open carry anywhere.
Mm.
You're allowed to open carry a rifle. Yeah, no matter where you are. It's your Second Amendment right.
What's that whole deal with concealed handgun?
Concealed handgun thing is different because you can conceal it and hide it. I don't know, because everywhere has weird handgun laws, but rifles are protected in the Second Amendment specifically. So are pistols. Your right to own them is protected. Your right to have a rifle out and slung on your back is protected too, anywhere as far as I know in the United States. It's just it's because the ability to conceal. Because you can't conceal, well, you can if you try hard enough, because you can't conceal an AR in theory.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the difference.
A state of emergency was declared at 11:06 a.m. Violence continued until 11:30 a.m., when officials declared unlawful assembly. Police started making arrests around 11:55 a.m. as they began clearing Emancipation Park. At 12:30 p.m., clashes were reported at nearby Justice Park.
Justice Park.
Counter-protesters marched down 4th Street. At 1:40 p.m., a car sped
Hey, look at
down
those socialists right there.
Yeah, I know.
Stupid socialist. I'm not with them. Oh. And
That's
then
where
this is where this
people
person in that Challenger. Yeah. Mowed down a group of protesters, injuring quite a few and killing one.
Then
God,
rushed in reverse.
you can hear it.
Did you guys just see
This has also been found to have been premeditated because they found that in other videos he actually reversed before driving forward, which shows intent.
Hundreds of people downtown Charlottesville. Holy we need the ambulances.
he says as he...
That guy's so casual.
Fields Jr. was arrested and charged with second-degree murder after authorities identified him as the driver of the car. Heather Hayer, a Charlottesville paralegal, died in the attack.
Probably the same man charged with second-degree murder. He's James Alex Fields Jr., not Alex.
Okay. So that gives you, a solid idea of what happened in Charlottesville and the tragedies that occurred. And honestly, with these protesters and with these alt-right folks,
The alt-right is alt-right?
is that just leave
It's
leave
alt-right.
them the fuck alone. Both the protesters and the alt-right folks, just stick to your own little pathetic things. And just fuck off.
Well, that was the biggest problem, is like we were talking about, like we covered, basically, kind of towards the side of the alt-right movement, is that, they had everything properly set out for them to protest there. They did everything they were supposed to do. Even though they were protesting, or what, who knows what the fuck they were going to say.
I mean, I believe
don't know if
that
they always spout hate speech.
I mean, if memory serves, the ACLU had to step in and force the city to allow these people to get their permits.
Because at first the mayor was just outright denying their permit to...
Yes, and then they said, well, they can't protest here, they can only protest here. And the ACLU is like, no, you have to allow them to protest. At this location is a public area and such and such. And like I said, Charlottesville could have been avoided if the protesters were just left well enough alone. There would have been a dozen people at the stupid alt-right protest.
Honestly, again, to still err on the side of the alt-right, I honestly don't think the alt-right people started anything.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know who started what.
We don't know who started what, but there's volatile people in both groups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like more of the volatile people are in the other, the more SOW / whatever. Those are the people that ran around on Times Square, punching that dude in the face while he was talking. Remember? Because he was just talking.
Well, that was Black Bloc.
Yeah,
it's a different thing.
That was the same people that were there too. Some of them.
But Black Bloc is just instigators in themselves, as we've covered, folks. For those who don't know, Black Bloc is a...
Is it a group? I think that's just a
well, it's a tactic.
Yeah.
Black Bloc is what it's called whenever a group of people get together wearing all black, covering up their entire body, their face, etc. and such, so you can't see anybody. And they usually go out in large groups of people, using a mob mentality to start some shit, simply put. And it happens in a lot of major areas where there's protests and there's good chance violence is coming from a Black Bloc. Nobody likes Black Bloc. Black Bloc is there just to cause trouble. Yeah. Those guys can go fuck off into a tiny corner and, whatever. But they come out at every protest. They always try and start shit.
That's
Never
fails.
fails.
That's a new story. Did we cover that story?
Which one?
The next one?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, we may have cut it, but it was on. It was in the emails. So it's probably a story we were going to cover.
It's probably been cut, yeah. Anyway, carry on.
So yeah. So like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if Black Bloc was in this and instigated things. But like I said, from what I know of these protests, it wouldn't surprise me if there are powder kegs on both sides, just wanting the barest of excuses to go off.
Mm-hmm.
It always happens.
I should show up to some of these things just so I can go green eggs and ham on both sides. I'm just neutral. I'm the truest of neutral. I'll go in just to fight everybody. Because I'm bored. And it sounds fun. But I'll instantly get called a white supremacist, I'm sure. You're a fucking white male.
Yeah, you're a fucking white male.
Yeah. And it's just like...
Phrasing.
Yeah, and my reaction, okay. Beautiful.
Nice. So moving on.
Yep.
Is it mine?
Yeah, definitely yours.
Fine, dash. Houston man charged with planting a bomb at a Confederate statue. So shortly after the events of Charlottesville, it was found that a man just It was found shortly after that a man was charged with trying to plant a bomb. The park ranger spotted him kneeling in the bushes of the 112-year-old Confederate statue, explosives in hand. The park ranger asked him, was he trying to harm the statue? He replied, yes. He didn't like that guy. Fucking idiot. The late-night confrontation at the statue of Confederate Dick Dowling, detailed in court records by a federal agent, led to the arrest of 25-year-old Andrew Schneck.
That name, Schneck.
Schneck. Setting off a 2-day operation by law enforcement that forced the evacuation of the Tony Rice University neighborhood where Schneck lives with his parents.
It's a, I think more upscale area by Rice.
I thought you said Rice itself is all terrible.
It is.
There's an upscale, it's terrible.
Did you see Houston? Like, we were in the hipsterville, and it's
We were.
and it was like part of it looked good, and then everything else looked terrible. So yeah,
That's
I'd
true.
say so.
All that gentrification.
Something. I don't even know if that's gentrification or just massive metropolitan city.
Here's something that affected us directly.
Oh yes, this is where the joke that nothing can stop this talk show comes from. Because, as you all know, Hurricane Harvey was a thing.
And it brutally struck Houston and pretty much the coast from Port Kansas, or what the hell was it?
Port Aransas?
Yeah, Port Aransas.
Is it Port Aransas?
Is Port Aransas
I'm
what,
trying to
north
think. It's way
of
up
Corpus
there,
Christi?
north.
Or is it south?
Port Aransas is south by Corpus Christi.
Yeah. Hurricane Harvey came in at Port Aransas, destroyed the city, and then came north, right along into my city here, and our city, and then decided to go out.
And it was going up towards Houston, and then rolling around in Houston. And back down.
Didn't it go back out into the Gulf and then roll into Houston?
And then rolled. It went back out, and then it rolled north. It went north. That's what happened.
Yeah.
It went back out. It rolled in Houston. It came in, did this number here, and then rolled out, and then moved up a little bit and re-hit landfall near Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Which was it devastated that area too, way up there. I forget what it was called, up in the Texarkana region or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it fucked us up, and it almost caused our entire town to go underwater.
I mean, there was extreme worries here that our town could be 10 feet underwater.
Entirety of
if a levee broke or whatever.
No, it wasn't even.
I know if it wasn't, but
it was if it had actually hit its flood stage.
Yes. Which it was this close.
Which it destroyed. It destroyed Wharton mostly.
Yeah, it destroyed Wharton.
60% underwater. I think.
Yes, majority underwater.
Yeah,
devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing it hit Wharton and not here.
Yeah,
sucks for you and Wharton, but.
And I saw the devastation. Driving back to Austin and stuff, and I could see where the water was above, on the fences everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
everything.
mean, heck,
was
on
just
our way
terrible.
back, when we came back, because we left for about 2 days. And then we're like, well, the water's not going to flood, let's go back home.
Yep.
Like, we never lost power at our house either. I know a lot of the city lost power at some point. City wells were down, etc.
Ours weren't actually. Not that many were down. Not enough. Like nothing caused us to boil, and nothing caused us to lose anything. The only thing that they didn't lose wells, they lost septic pumps or something like that. That's what they lost. They lost the wastewater lift stations. That's it. Which caused like some septics to back up a little bit, or like they just told people not to flush. That's it. But there were people who still use water, and it was all drinkable shit, and everything tested back.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, because it was devastating. We mean, both of us, we were expecting to come back with nothing.
Yeah, I loaded up my car with everything that I gave a shit about, and was like, if I ever go back home, there's going to be nothing here.
Same here. I loaded up my car, and I'm like, well, the trailer's a couple feet off the ground, and then the rest of the house is a bit tall, so I still expect to come back to nothing. The only good thing is my trailer is rated for like category like 3 to 4 hurricanes. Because all trailers within a certain range of the coast must be rated to be legally sold to a certain measure.
Yeah.
Regardless of age. I think it started in about 70s, 80s is when this measuring came into place.
Well, it's like the same thing with the whole like my mom, the wall of windows over there by the fucking by the pool. Those are like super high tempered glass, like shatterproof. I know they're shatterproof because I fucking threw a rock through one and shattered the entire window and it never broke out, which is great. But yeah, they have to like that has to be a storm-proof thing. It's like steel I-beam reinforced and all this other junk because it has to be because hurricane area. Uticon.
Is it hurricane first now?
Yeah, so they're all Uticons, man. It's all Uticon now. Anyway, Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, strained influx of evacuees. Mayor demands aid. Houston strained under the arrival of tens of thousands of people at city shelters, fleeing submerged homes and flooded roads, while some incidents of looting and armed robberies forced a midnight curfew. City and regional officials showed signs of tension after working nonstop for a week or more on storm preparations and response, with Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner bluntly telling U.S. Congress to quickly approve aid for victims of Tropical Storm Harvey, which was actually a hurricane before that point. I guess they technically got hit by the tropical storm. So.
Yeah, but it still devastated Houston.
Oh, no, it fucking
and it flooded most of the city.
Them. It's because it stopped over them, or it was over them
for
like
it hailed for days. Yeah.
Yep. The storm that came ashore on Friday near Corpus Christi was the most powerful hurricane to hit Texas in more than 50 years. It's true. Actually, I don't know.
It's true.
Is it true?
Yeah.
More powerful storms have hit Texas in the last 50 years. I think it means that it was the one that caused the most damage. I don't think it was the most powerful, though.
It did cause the most damage, but...
Because the most powerful one was fucking Rita and Ike. They were both 5. And that wasn't less than 50 years ago. It was still within our lifetime, so I know it was less than 50 years. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just the way they said it was kind of fucky.
Maybe.
Anyway, it killed at least 25 people and forced 30,000 people to flee to emergency shelters. Damage has been estimated at tens of billions of dollars. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And it also halted the United States fucking energy production and stuff, all of the oil and all the gasoline.
Because I mean, Houston processes about a third, I think like a quarter to a third of the nation's oil.
Yep. That and so do the rest of the refiners on the coast. Like we live in.
So yeah, it devastated the country's oil supplies.
Mm.
I mean, they had to release. They ordered the release of the emergency reserves of oil to stabilize the market.
Which I'm glad they did, because I don't think they did that under Bush or whatever, under whoever that one.
They do it rarely. Like, we have one of the largest supplies of reserves of oil in the world. So if anything happens, I think we actually have enough oil supply to last the country about 100 days or less.
Which isn't much, but...
No, it's not much, but it's more than any other nation in the world.
Yeah, we also use more than any other nation in the world. By, like, far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As Kenneth Google searches Oil usage of gallons per day.
Oh my.
Oh my.
The United States is
marginally
leagues
above
ahead.
everyone.
I mean, we use more than 5 times the amount of oil of the entire European Union. We use more, we use about 1.5 times more than the entire European Union. We use nearly double that of China. We use 4 times that plus of India, Japan, Saudi Arabia. We are the world's #1 consumer oil. We consume freaking about 20% of the world's oil supply per day.
Told you, man.
There's nobody close to us.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest people to us is the European Union, and that's a conglomeration of nations.
Yeah, but their mass transit systems also don't suck.
True, but it's also a lot smaller area because the European Union is that versus America, which is that. I mean, the European Union's about like the East Coast.
But still, like, all of our fucking cities have, even our biggest cities, some of our biggest cities have really shit, mass transit compared to most of the EU. Like, you can get around the EU better than you can.
Oh yeah, because they have like the bullet rails and shit, and it travels so easy.
Yep.
I mean, like, there are some cities that do transportation pretty well. Like New York does it well.
I think that's about it. I don't know.
LA?
LA?
Well, LA has a subway and they have metro. Houston has the light rail and has
Houston
metro
has the light
buses.
rail and Houston has metro too, but the Houston metro buses take 30 minutes to get anywhere.
Yeah, and the light rail's slow as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, Texas is the worst because we don't know what mass transit is. We just expect everybody to drive their jacked up Ford F-150s around.
Yeah. Yeah, no, New York, their transit system is awesome.
New York is because everything's super close together, you can actually walk. New York's like all of Japan and all of any other European country where you just walk around.
Yeah, but you've seen those subway pictures from Japan where they're stuffing people into cars.
It's really not always
It takes like 4 people just get the fuck in there.
It's really not.
And the guy just holding on is like, I ain't getting out, bitch. You're gonna have to stuff me in.
It's really not always that bad, I don't think.
Yeah, that's what they say.
I
don't believe the brochure.
I believe it. Because it's the Mecca. It's the place of my homeland.
So, anyways. Moving on. As we covered in September...
Yes.
As you may remember, folks, in September, a nurse at a Utah hospital was arrested over attempting to tell the police not to attempt to draw blood from a patient. The nurse was Alex Waltz, who refused the police to draw blood because the hospital policy required a warrant or the patient's consent. Officer Jeff Payne handcuffed her and dragged her outside and arrested her. The patient who she was defending unfortunately died from his injuries. William Gray was a commercial truck driver and a reserve police officer that died late that day from his injuries when he suffered a fiery July 26th crash left him with burns over nearly half of his body. Let's roll the video so we can give people an idea of what happened to poor Nurse Willis.
Thousands of people who have seen this video are accusing Detective Jeff Payne of unlawful arrest, of assault, police misconduct, intimidation. The University of Utah has announced a series of changes to ensure its nurses are never again mistreated by police after Nurse Wobble spoke out here on Today.
They're like dragged around, she's boxed in. She's on the phone right there with her supervisor.
Yep. That name though, Wobbles. We've seen some of the best last names this year.
With outrage growing over the video of a Salt Lake City police detective grabbing, manhandling, then handcuffing critical care nurse Alex Wubbles out of the hospital and into a patrol car, the University of Utah Med Center says it's already taken steps to ensure it never happens again.
No individual in the role of patient care should ever be treated this way.
From now on, police will have to talk to hospital administrators, not doctors or nurses. Detective Jeff Payne wanted a blood sample from truck driver William Gray, who was severely burned in this crash involving a car being chased by police.
That was a head-on collision.
Last year, the Supreme Court ruled police must have a warrant or patient consent. When Wubbles explained why she couldn't draw blood.
The thing is, that poor man was the fucking victim. That cop had no business.
Also, I'm looking at that, like, is that a cop?
That fat guy right there? I think that's hospital security. Is it? It looks like it could be a cop.
That's what I said. I'm looking at all the shit. He's like, that man is fat.
Yeah, no, he's a very fat cop.
Like, my God.
I know, I was going to comment on that too, and I'm like, look, is that guy a cop? He's really fat.
Kind of looks like he's too big.
Fuck you. I got a wine bottle right here, man. Makes a decent weapon.
Does it? I don't know. It's kind of nice.
Thick.
Nice, yeah, I was going to say. Enjoy.
Detective Payne became physical. Watching it all unfold, university police and security who failed to protect the nurse.
What I say is that I apologize to her.
No, because the police are wearing black, but those guys are wearing like kind of like dark green.
She did everything right in this case.
I think they might have been
deserved
hospital
to be arrested for what she did.
I don't know what his problem was.
Monday on Today, Wubbles said
what is his major malfunction?
Police were slow to take action.
I'm not here to police the police. The police need to do that if they're going to regain any kind of trust by me or the public.
But Detective Payne and another officer were only placed on paid leave on Friday when the video was released. Now, a nearby department is conducting a criminal investigation, as the Salt Lake City Police Department's Facebook page fills with thousands of people demanding justice. Salt Lake City Police and the mayor have apologized to Nurse Wubbles. Detective Payne has not yet responded to requests for comments. Meanwhile, truck driver William Gray, who was hit by the car being chased by police, sustained serious burns in the crash. He is also a reserve Idaho police officer. He and his department have now publicly thanked Nurse Wubbles for standing up for his rights while he was unconscious.
I don't think he died.
No, he did.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
It said that he thanked them.
Well, the video is a bit earlier than when the actual.
By the way, friends have set up a GoFundMe page to help with his very serious expenses involved in critical burns.
Dead.
Guys, back to you.
It's an incredible story. Got a lot of respect.
Yes. So, good news for the nurse, bad news for the person.
Very much so.
Yeah. But I enjoyed this next coming stories. Is this yours or mine?
I'll take it. Or if you want to take this is one of the stupid crazy ones, isn't it?
Yep,
this is one of the ones we read. I remember reading this one.
Yep.
I laughed at it. You can take it.
So, armed man accused of holding up a Baltimore County bar where cops were celebrating an officer's retirement. So, two armed men held up a Woodlawn bar Tuesday evening, and so we are now in September. When September ends.
No. Shut the fuck up, Green Day. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, God. Where a group of Baltimore County police officers had gathered for a retirement party, the department said, as the officers were celebrating a long-term sergeant's retirement in the main room of Monaghan's pub in Gwonek Avenue, the two masked men approached the carry-out counter nearby around 5:30.
Oh, wow, there's a calculator here. I didn't even fucking see this.
Oh, that's useful. We need that. Monaghan's owner, Jack Mullaney, said the man demanded cash from the register, then took off. Some of the off-duty officers attending the retirement party gave chase and arrested the two men nearby. That's just fantastic.
That's just fantastic.
No, these men were stupid enough to rob a bar that just so happened to have cops celebrating a retirement party. It was his last day, man!
I mean, and it was at that point that he realized the Force needed him. I feel like that'd be one of those jokes.
And he Poor Schmitty. This is he got out the last day. The last day of retirement. I'm like, what happened? He retired early.
After I read that. All right. Oh yes, this is back to the whole tropical storms and
in Florida
and hurricane stuff. But this one's in Florida. A Pizza Hut manager threatened to punish workers evacuating from Irma during September 11th, 2017. A Pizza Hut manager in Florida threatened to punish employees who missed shifts by evacuating too early from Hurricane Irma. In a memo, the manager said workers at the Jacksonville restaurant have a responsibility and commitment to the community, and that employees who need to evacuate would get only a 24-hour grace period before a storm. Now, as somebody that has to evacuate before storms and that has evacuated before, a 24-hour grace period is shitty.
Mm-hmm.
It's super shitty. Because, these people have to go to work, and they have to go to sleep, and then they have to pack up their lives and try to get home, get out before everybody else.
And the thing is, Pizza Hut didn't have an official policy on evacuations. It was a franchise by franchise choice. So this franchise, or this particular shop, chose to tell their workers that.
Yeah, well, some of the other franchises, like the ones in Houston, were open and delivering pizzas by kayaks and shit, which we didn't have.
Yeah, which we covered that story.
Yeah. But yeah. So, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Fuck you, that Pizza Hut manager and the people who own that Pizza Hut. These people had to get out.
Yeah. They went on to say, you cannot evacuate for a Friday for a Tuesday storm event. The notice read, failure to follow these shifts, regardless of reason, will be considered a no-call, no-show, and documentation will be issued.
Because, shit, I know when we had to evacuate, we had to get out quick. The evacuation order, because there was 2 evacuation orders.
Well, technically we were already under
mandatory mandatory evacuation.
But then we were under the mandatory evacuation. Yeah.
And then the town's going to be destroyed. Get the fuck out.
The catastrophic evacuation story, and everyone's like, maybe we should get out. There's still a lot of people that stayed. Obviously we were fine, but after looking at the information, looking harder into it,
we were looking at the information throughout that morning, because we found out at midnight. We were talking with each other. We brought our families in. We were
going back and forth, and realistically, I was like let's just leave.
I know his family is making calls with everybody they could find.
Yeah, because as a newspaper, they have ins and they talk with people and whatever.
And we were looking at the public information, and it's everything pointed to, 10 feet of water in the city being under.
Everything pointed to, and my whole thing at the end of it all was just it's not a point of if it's going to happen. It has a chance. They're obviously warning us. It's let's just leave. It's better to be safe than sorry. At least on
and the chances were high that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Our only saving grace was that the city down the river from us, Wharton, was flooded, and that was what saved us.
Pretty much. Is that Wharton flooded, but also something else happened. What actually saved us was that the water flooded over from there and went into the San Bernard or something. It went into one of the other rivers way upstream. That was actually what saved us. And then it ultra flooded. It was the Brazos of San Bernard, because the Brazos of San Bernard cut off Lake Jackson and everything.
Yeah, because Richmond got flooded.
Yep.
I think because of my sister, because we evacuated up to Richmond.
Yeah, that was the problem that we were looking into, because I had gone through whenever it was raining Austin, when Austin Lake Travis and shit was flooding, it started flooding everything down. By the way, geographics, man, if it starts flooding up north, you guys down south get fucked too. That's what I learned as I was traveling that day. I was on the road for 10 hours for normally a 3-hour drive. It was so bad, and then on top of everything, I got a fucking ticket. I was so pissed. I just told the officer, I was like, listen, I really gotta pee, just write me the fucking ticket so I can go pee. I don't even care.
Oh yeah, that was the one that we pulled into that one.
I pulled into a fucking gas station, the dude in front of me was speeding way faster than me. Yep. And I got the ticket because I pulled in the gas station. I was like, you son of a bitch. But he's like, oh, well, okay, I'll take this guy. Yeah. That was stupid. But yeah.
So this is another one of these great stories that happened in September. So a man robs a bank and goes to KFC with the money. Simply put, when officers arrived, they found him at the KFC with a bag of money, and he told police he had robbed the bank. Police arrested a Gainesville man Thursday at a KFC after they say he stole more than $10,000 from a Wells Fargo bank. Leave it to it's Gainesville's what? Kentucky?
Oh, I have no idea.
Georgia?
I think it's Georgia.
I think it's Georgia.
It's the place that does stuff.
Yeah. So, interesting.
That's not my house. That's further. House is this one right here. And this is just like putting on the far side of my house. Alright, so...
Interesting.
2.66 kilometer link. Line of sight. First frontal zone. 60% clearance zone. 40 meters. Frequency 5 gigahertz. Air fiber channel width 10. I don't know. Access point. What if I change this? It's air fiber. What if I use Air Max AC? 23. Sorry, that's a whole game. Did it get? I figured basically this is height 40 meters. I don't know.
So Samuel J. Von Reeves, 32, entered the Wells Fargo and told the teller he needed money. He asked if he had a debit card and responded to robbery. I was like, oh, welcome to our Wells Fargo. I need some money. I'm like, okay, sir, do you have a debit card or credit or driver's license? He's like, this is a robbery.
I have robbery.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay, yes, sir. Yes, Dan.
The teller gave Reeves the money that was in her drawer and asked if he wanted a bag. Reeves said yes and thanked the teller.
What?
He said she asked if he wanted it in a bag. He said yes and he thanked her. I hope she put a dye pack in that bag. What would you wish?
He didn't ask for no dye pack.
He didn't ask for a dye pack. And he then took the bag with more than 10 grand in it.
Okay, I'm laughing at this. This is like if it's 40 foot to like, I don't know however many inches, but 2 meters.
2 meters is only like 6 feet.
Yeah, if it's 40 to 40, it will be total capacity 6 megahertz. That's surprising.
16.
Oh, if you change the width, that's how much capacity I can get total.
Okay, well, what's the bandwidth to channel with?
80 megahertz is the biggest one, which gives me max capacity, I'm guessing.
Send me that link for that thing. It looks interesting.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, I love it. He took the bag with more than 10 grand, according to the police. He left the bank and walked through the neighboring Publix parking lot. The bank employee followed, taking photos of him with his phone. Reeves later told the police he asked her for a cigarette. God, I love that. But he was like, oh, you're not getting away, motherfucker. I'm going to take some pictures of you. And he's like, can I get a cigarette? No.
Can I get a cigarette? Who the fuck are you again? Well, let's try the 2.4 gigahertz again. Alright? Oh man, it's beautiful. It's so terrible. Alright. No. Yeah, I'll just give you the link to it. Okay, did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, just copy and paste it. Yeah. Apparently, my house is going to be a little bit bigger. Or my house is on a hill? I don't know. Apparently, my house has a weird thing. This is just a simulation. It's interesting, though.
All your reality, just a simulation.
Yep. Everything's a simulation. Did you do the same thing?
Is the purple mine or yours?
I think yours is going to be the access point. Mine's going to be a station that points to your access point. That's what I did. I was purple, since you provide the service. Either way, it would work, I guess, but I think it's supposed to go. You're supposed to provide the service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you still have it backwards still.
Is it backwards?
Yeah, the blue is supposed to be the access point. The purple is the receiver. Because see, it says AP RX, or well, AP is the access point, and then the STA RX, which is the station of the second one. Yep. We're just doing some planning here with our metal dishes.
Yep.
Anyway, on to October. Las Vegas shooting. Ah, yes, this is a fun thing. So, the timeline of events. Gunmen inside of Las Vegas casino killed at least 58 people at a nearby country music festival in a late Sunday night shooting. Or that Sunday night during that day. More than 480 others were hurt in the massacre, called the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history, according to police. Authorities have identified Paddock as the suspected shooter They also have located Danley, which I believe is his wife. We located the vehicle in question, and we are confident we have located the female person of interest. They tweeted at 3:07 a.m. in the morning. The death toll moves to 59, including the shooter, with 527 others injured, law enforcement officials say. Yeah, there you go. Las Vegas shooter. One of the biggest, I guess, stories to hit us.
Mm-hmm.
Thus far. Yeah, just to play with it.
Yeah. Yes, this is a tragedy. I mean, hundreds injured, dozens killed.
Yeah.
Also, in September, it was discovered that every single Yahoo account, all 3 billion of them, were affected by the 2013 data breach.
Including me. Oh, did you have a Yahoo account too?
Yeah. Just a throwaway account.
It is now. I used to have a Yahoo Best Shooter forever. But,
So, in 2016, Yahoo disclosed that more than that one of its 3 billion accounts had been affected, and in the disclosure this year in October, they basically came out that it was all 3 billion accounts.
yeah, I think the original number was like a few million.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, no, all of them were. They just were like, hey, look, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's nice of you guys to tell us, 3 years, 4 years after the fact.
In interesting news for the Boy Scouts, it also came out this year that the Boy Scouts voted on and approved that they will admit girls and allow them to earn the rank of Eagle Scout.
Which is kind of depressing for an organization called the Boy Scouts of America.
I'm sure they'll just rename it to the Scouts of America.
I know. They already had Venture Scouts and stuff, but...
They did have Venture Scouts and Sea Scouts and other Scouts.
Scouts and Sailor Scouts and...
Yeah. I think more of the Sea Scouts. Yep. So the Boy Scouts of America announced that they will be allowing girls to become Cub Scouts and earn the coveted rank of Eagle, the organization's highest honor, of which I am an Eagle Scout.
Of which I never made it that far. But I still have my Boy Scout handbook, which is just as good as the Eagle Scout rank. I don't know, has that gotten you anything?
Not really. It's diminishing returns.
It's diminishing returns. Every year I realize that was meh. I mean, at least...
No. I mean, I had a fine time and, experiences and such. I had a great time with Boy Scouts. I mean, I wouldn't, I don't regret it. It was fun.
You met me through Boy Scouts originally.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
and, I mean, it was great. I loved being a part of it and doing the fun things we did.
Yep. I
just hated the summer camp.
Was the Boy Scout summer camp shit?
No,
not the Boy Scout.
The Boy Scout summer camp was fantastic. Fucking hilly though.
Is that?
Well, and it was also summer, so it's fucking 100 degrees plus every goddamn day.
So?
And 90 at night.
So? These are just some of my favorite.
And you had to walk a good mile and a half up horribly hilly terrain.
I probably would have enjoyed that a little too much. I'm like, alright, Kath, what are we doing today? Woo! I hate you.
It's like we're on lunch today. Woo! It wasn't already hard enough because the incline to get to the mess hall was this steep. You had to practically fucking climb it on your hands and knees sometimes.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then, especially if you had KP, you had to pick up the lunch. And you had to go all the way from your camp, like I said, mile down hilly terrain, which wasn't that bad because it's down, of course. But it was steep fucking hills. And then you had to go up the horrible ass climb to the goddamn mess hall, grab the shit back, bread and sandwich meats and all that shit, and take that heavy shit all the way back to camp. And you're like, fuck. That was horrible. Well, the good thing is I was able to avoid most of that duty. I had to do it once or twice, but not too often.
Kenneth fucking pulls out his Torah and throws it down the coin. It's against my religion.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to work on the Sabbath. When's the Sabbath? As far as you know, every day.
Pretty much. Beautiful.
Yeah, but no, it was fantastic. The Boy Scout camp in San Marcos is amazing. I mean, there's nothing you can't do there.
That's pretty cool. See, I didn't get to do all that.
Which is a shame because you would have loved it.
Probably.
There's rifle and shooting and arrows and all that shit.
See, that's what I liked about Beauvais and shit. But, like, I never got to do any of that shit at Beauvais.
Same here.
Well, it's because my dad wouldn't let me. The only thing I did was bows. I did archery in Beauvais, I think. That's about it. It's depressing. Anyway, on to triggering news. More about the FCC as we talk about like on stream and everything all the time. Fucking issue pie. FCC's claim that one ISP counts as competition faces scrutiny in court. A Federal Communications Commission decision to eliminate price caps imposed on some business broadband providers should be struck down. Advocacy groups told federal judges last week. The FCC failed to justify its claim that a market can be competitive even when there is only one internet provider, the group said. Led by Chairman Ajit Pai, the FCC's Republican majority voted in April of this year to eliminate price caps if a county of 50% of potential customers are within half a mile of a location served by a competitive provider. That means business customers at just one choice are often considered to be located in a competitive market and thus no longer benefit from price controls.
Yes,
which is another part of the whole, killing net neutrality. I mean, this isn't directly, this isn't net neutrality, I don't think.
But this is important.
But this is an important, view of how, cutting this makes everything better.
Because what they consider competition is mobile. So you got a cell phone in your pocket? Well, whoop-de-freaking do. That's another ISP. Guess what? Those rate caps and protections you put on your, city to help make sure that you have affordable internet because there's only one provider previously? Well, now you have 4.
Yeah. And, by the way, one of them is probably the same company that provides your city with internet. Like us.
Yeah. But, the other 3 are then your mobile networks.
You have AT&T and AT&T and subsidiaries of AT&T.
You have Cricket.
Subsidiary of AT&T.
Is Cricket or I thought that was T-Mobile?
I think
it's Boost.
Sprint. Yeah. Boost is subsidiary of Sprint. Cricket is a subsidiary of AT&T, I think. I think 20 of the ones that are off-brands are subsidiaries of AT&T.
Yeah, and Walmart's, their upper end mostly. Package is T-Mobile, but all the lower end is AT&T.
Yep.
Which is funny.
It's funny that you can get cheaper service basically from AT&T through other companies than AT&T itself.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
Nope.
But this would be devastating to a county like ours because the majority of the population of this county is in this city. So basically that means Matagorda, the city of Matagorda, very small city on the coast, wealthy city because fucking rich people live there on their beach houses and shit.
Dude, a shitty plot of land over there is $1 million.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. You could, a broken down shack, $50K, $100K.
Yeah, people can't afford their own broken down shacks. That's why a lot of people's broken down shacks are getting destroyed down there.
Yeah.
Because, the property taxes are way too much.
Yeah. But, so basically because, 50% of the county plus is living in this city. Well, guess what? None of the other cities in this county are going to get service.
Sounds something like AT&T is on board with it.
Clearly the FCC is.
Which is stupid. I don't even know if it's the FCC. I think it's actually Pi.
Well, it's the Republican side of the FCC.
Which is the majority right now.
Yep.
Sadly.
So,
Oh, yes, let me cover this one. In other news this year, a sad bout to the weeaboos out there. The Japanese zoo mourns anime-loving survivor penguin. If you don't know who his name is by that, we will tell you here. Celebrity penguin, which made international headlines after forming an attachment to a cardboard cutout in a Japanese zoo, has died at the age of 21.
Great coon.
Yep. Tobu Zoo in Japan's central Saitama prefecture announced Grape's death through its Twitter account, saying the cause of death was unknown. But according to the news record, he would have been around 80 years old in human years. Okay, he's relatively old. Grape, the Humboldt penguin, became an online star in May after seemingly falling in love with a picture of Hululu, an anthropomorphic penguin character from the Japanese anime.
I'm just thinking of that guy, that Millwall guy. He's like, hey, they went Hululu at me, and I just went Hululu.
And I don't know why, but I just went Hululu back, and fuck you, and I'm Millwall. Like how he explained it. I think he said that he regrets what he did, I think.
Yeah. Well, I imagine people probably would regret having their arms and shit all cut up and slashed and stabbed in the neck and stomach.
Not if you saved a bunch of people, and that's like...
So.
Then again, he was drunk.
And he was
just like, what's that? You want to fight? Let's fight, mate. Basically, probably. All he'll hear is boo, fuck you, I'm Millwall. Basically. Yeah. I guess he thought that was their, like, the chant from the, like, an enemy team or something. It's like, nah, not with Millwall. Fuck you, let's fight. And then I bet they all just, like, holding fucking machetes, they all look at each other and they're just like, and start running after him.
Pretty much. Sounds like what happened.
Yep. But anyway, Komodo friends after it was placed in his enclosure. So that's it for that. Ah, yes. Something we talked about here.
Yes, as we've discussed with the numerous Hollywood sex scandals that happened, another thing that came out of it was Corey Feldman, child star from the 1980s, so you may remember him. Such hits as I Don't Even Fucking Know, because it's Corey Feldman. And who is he?
Wasn't he on fucking one of the celebrity songs, like something? Was it The Voice? America's Got Talent? Or was it the other one?
I don't know. Let's see. He's in quite a lot of movies in the 80s and 90s.
Who cares about movies? TV shows. He's a big deal for something he was in.
Yeah, fine. TV shows. Again, 80s and 90s shows. He was in Married with Children and Jocelyn the Crypt. Family Ties.
Oh, guys in Robot Chicken.
Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go.
God have mercy.
Robot Chicken. Psych. Dancing on Ice. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's still apparently there. It's Slash.
Huh.
Marvel Spider-Man playing Eddie Brock / Venom. Interesting.
Nope. None of the above.
Yes. But yes, Corey Feldman launches a campaign to expose a Hollywood pedophile ring. As we've covered through our numerous stories about the Hollywood sex scandals going on and the pedophile rings that he's trying to expose. So Corey Feldman has released a video detailing some of the troubles he's had over the past days, announcing to the press that he plans to expose some of the most powerful players in Hollywood that he knows. Excuse me. As a fact, are still part of a pedophile ring. He's not just asking, but begging others in the Hollywood community to finally break their silence and come forward. He calls out to some of his peers in the 80s, demanding that they speak up, as quite a few women have in the past 2 weeks in the wake of the Harvey Weinstein sexual harassment scandal, which has just blown up to the entire Hollywood sex scandals. Which, as you may know, we've covered repeatedly.
Nice. China shuts down up to 40% of its factories in an unprecedented stand against pollution. This year, as a part of their, part of their Paris Climate Accord, they decided to really start buckling down on emissions, also because the air quality in their entire country is god-awful. There are people even buying cans of fresh air from other places, which is a hilarious joke and such a meme. But anyway, China is in the midst of an all-out blitz on polluters, flouting emissions standards. Why didn't that just turn up and turn down? What the fuck? Huh?
That's weird.
Huh?
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
No, it's weird, babe. My sound's just turning itself down slowly.
Do you have a virus? Have you been hacked? We're just watching it drop, folks.
Nope, it's definitely just turning itself down randomly. I'm not understanding exactly what's going on, but it's doing it. It's just kind of funny. No wonder why it slowly muted itself. Is it this thing?
No.
Oh, weird. It's really weird. Oh well, whatever. It's not like we're playing the videos right now. We'll turn it back up after that. It's just kind of weird that it's doing that. What? Just slowly turning itself down? This is kind of weird. The estimates of the crackdown suggest as much as 40% of China's factories have been temporarily closed by safety inspectors, with officials from more than 80,000 factories charged with criminal offenses for breaching emissions limits over the past year. The months-long campaign coincides with China announcing this week at its Communist Party Congress its plans to cut the concentration of hazardous fine particulate matter, called PM 2.5, from 47 micrograms per cubic meter in 2016 to 35 micrograms by 2035. I don't know how many parts per million that is, because I think ppm would be a better figure than micrograms per cubic meter.
Yeah. But as, I mean, like I said, throughout our continuing coverage,
that's still going.
China's actually making a lot of green environmental moves to try and save the country, their country.
They're going hashtag Greenfield.
Yep, with a lot of boosts in wind, solar, of course shutting down all these factories. It's quite good of China to finally stand up and see reality and the fact that if they don't do anything, they're going to kill all their future generations of people. Anyways, so in U.S. news for November, the New York City witnesses its deadliest terrorist attack since 9/11. Let's roll the video on that. Authorities say the suspect, an ISIS supporter, deliberately drove a rented truck on a bike path, killing it. Okay, now the sound's just muted.
Yeah, no. So just going down by 2 automatically. I'm not sure what's going on here. Never seen my computer start leaking out, so I turned down the volume. If you don't need volume, fuck you. I'm your computer. Oops. This thing either.
No. That thing doesn't control it. It only controls the volume going to these devices.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Something's doing it.
Very strange.
Very strange indeed. As it just continues to slowly turn the sound down.
Attack in this city since 9/11. And to give you an idea of where we're standing tonight, take a look over my shoulder here. We are in the shadow of One World Trade. That, of course, was built on the site of Ground Zero. It gives you an idea of just how far the suspect got and how close to Ground Zero he came. And just moments ago here, the police commissioner taking us to the crime scene. The weapon, of course, a truck rented from Home Depot. Authorities say the suspect deliberately veering onto a path for bicyclists and pedestrians, speeding down the path. The commissioner telling me striking people for almost a mile. It lasted 4 minutes, the truck not stopping.
I mean, that also ran into a school right there, and he pinned poor elementary school children's bodies to the side of the van or truck.
Along that path, 8 people killed, including a mother visiting New York, and 5 friends here for that high school reunion. The suspect running from the truck, a hero officer shooting him. Tonight, we now know the suspect, an immigrant from Uzbekistan who lived in several American cities. Authorities say he carefully planned this attack for Halloween. And the letter tonight discovered inside the truck.
I don't know what. I said, why don't you have your volume in your bar down here? Just drag it down there.
I don't have anything in my car now. I didn't know you could actually do that, to be completely honest.
Yeah, so I'm like...
We begin here with ABC's Gio Benitez, right here on the scene.
Tonight, inside that horror following that deadly truck attack, a mangled school bus brought to a standstill in the middle of the road.
Can you call 911? I got... Oh my God! Oh my God! Okay, I need an ambulance right here. Right here. The guy T-boned. Come on. There's kids right there.
Firemen and police rush in,
You okay, man?
working frantically to get to the children inside. Just moments after, 29-year-old Sayfullo Saipov crashed into it. Authorities say Saipov had been planning the rampage for weeks, conducting prior reconnaissance of the very spot where he would drive onto that jogging path. Then, on the afternoon of Halloween, just after 2 p.m., renting a large truck at this Home Depot in Passaic, New Jersey. At 2:43 p.m., license plate readers that record every vehicle on the George Washington Bridge show him exiting the bridge into New York City. Minutes later, cameras outside of the Holland Tunnel show the truck swerving into the bike lane and mowing down pedestrians for nearly 20 blocks, almost a full mile.
We got multiple casualties. This is a mass casualty.
I like the fucking fade that we're getting slowly as the fucking audio keeps trying itself out. It's funny is that's a weird overlay. It doesn't show up. That's from Windows.
That's
actually.
Windows, yeah.
I don't know why Windows is wigging the fuck out. What's the sound problem? Question mark. I might just restart the other driver or something now. Which of these devices do you want to troubleshoot? No, check configuration. Speakers. SPDIF internet or SPDIF interface.
See, it says play the audio troubleshooter.
What? What does it say?
It says play the audio troubleshooter. I got a control panel troubleshooting, audio troubleshooting, advanced, run as administrator, and then follow the on-screen instructions.
Control panel. What does it say? Say control panel?
Yeah, in the troubleshooting. You just type in troubleshooting.
Mm-hmm.
And then troubleshooting. Hardware and sound. Yes, it's
troubleshoot auto recording right here?
No, just troubleshooting. Yeah, just hardware and sound. And then
playing audio.
Yeah. And then go to advanced. Okay, that's fine. Okay, next.
It's just which one do you want to do? I mean, it's alright.
Well, probably the Yeti. Actually, it's the Vio, but whatever.
It's what?
No, just the Yeti. Something, whatever. Doesn't even show it, actually.
That's what I'm saying.
That's weird.
Enhancements. Levels. It's doop. Y and I need to go to playback devices, SPDIF, properties,
advanced.
Wow. Why? That's so weird.
I don't know. Try disabling your other things like the voice meter and such.
It's able to disable. I don't really feel like disabling anything else.
Anyways.
Looks like it's good now. It stopped moving. That was weird. Odd, weird audio glitch that's happening on stream. Never seen that before.
In interesting tech news, however, Intel and AMD teamed up against NVIDIA to produce a new laptop chip. So like this here, as we covered previously on Table Talk Thursday. They're teaming up to develop a new laptop chip that uses an Intel processor and an AMD GPU. As part of Intel's 8th generation, marks the first partnership between the two giants since the 1980s.
You want to know why? Because Intel doesn't know how to make a fucking
GPU.
Well, no. Well, yes. No, it's the correct term is APU or whatever the fuck. I'm going to go with AMD's thing. I call it the APU. But basically a CPU with graphics embedded on there. They don't know how to embed graphics properly.
So these AMD specified these new Intel chips will be aimed at serious gamers. Intel says it's the first commercial consumer product that uses EMIB, a smart intelligence bridge design, which allows information to be passed quickly in extremely close proximity. The bridge allows the chips to be both smaller and more powerful. The chips will be using new HBM memory and can be used in devices including notebooks, 2-in-1s, and mini desktops. So just imagine that you can get a Surface, notebook with an AMD GPU that can run Crysis.
With an Intel GPU. Or an Intel CPU.
Intel CPU 18 AMD GPU.
Yeah, this is another reason why AMD stock's going up, because AMD's now in everything. AMD's in Intel's playground. AMD's in Intel chips now. AMD is in everything.
Yeah.
AMD is in your consoles. That's the other reason why I think AMD went up over the last couple of years so big, is because it went up. It's in both consoles. It has to, rise, because now it's the only technology used in any of the consoles. Except for maybe, is it used in the Nintendo Switch?
Yes.
Well, then it's used in every single console, so they have that entire market. Even if their PC market fails. And then they advance their PC market into destroying, not destroying Intel, but they're in Intel's ass. If AMD did what AMD did, and they get on Intel's...
Oh no. The Switch is using NVIDIA Tegra.
What?
Yeah.
Based on NVIDIA?
NVIDIA's Tegra X1. Based on the Maxwell technology.
Maxwell, so it's like 2 years ago, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the one before Pascal. That makes sense. It's because, you know why I use that? Because of the shield, I'm thinking. Because I think that's what that was used in. That makes sense, because it's about like the same specs as a shield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why they wouldn't need AMD. Because it's supposed to be a mobile thing. It's a mobile device. But no, AMD owns the good consoles. Let's say that. And I don't think the Switch is a great console.
It's good for Nintendo titles.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Nintendo has always struggled with third-party titles. Always.
Yeah,
that's why the Wii U was a big flop.
It's because they're more anal than fucking Microsoft is about what can and can't be on their console.
Yeah.
That's why.
I mean, they don't allow M-rated games.
Yeah, which is a big corner of the market.
There's only like a handful of M-rated games that have ever come out on Nintendo products.
Yeah. So there you go.
And that's a big thing if you want any like serious shooting games and such, which is a big market.
Yeah, all shooting games are M-rated because it's not even because of the blood or the gore. Like they're not even that bad. It's just because depictions of violence is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yes, as we covered most recently, the Saudi purge, royalty royal and wealthy. The Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, now leading the most functions of the country of Saudi Arabia, has commissioned an anti-corruption panel to root out corrupt practices in Saudi Arabia. As head of the committee, his first official act was the arrest and detainment of billionaire investor Prince Al-Walid bin Talal.
Al-Walid.
Talal.
Yes, Al-Walid bin Talal. Yeah, that's what we've been covering in the past couple of weeks because he keeps coming up quite often. He's basically in full control of Saudi Arabia. His father is close to advocating the throne and letting him become leader of...
Oh, I didn't switch back to the other thing. They were reading straight off of what I was reading off of, which is our show notes. Whoops. Oh, God. Beautiful.
Yeah, just listen to that.
I was like, there goes my ears. Watch them as they bleed.
Yes, but he's been cracking down and taking names, and supposedly he's close to getting $100 billion back from them. Anyways, let's roll that video.
What's up, Mr. Lemon Cactus? Next up, we have the North Korea's new Hwasong 15 missile.
The Hwasong 15, the ICBM for North Korea. They can hit anywhere in America. I don't think desktop audio is working.
Yeah? Oh, you know why it's not working? Because we just did that thing. Well, at least they didn't have to hear the deafening sound of fucking Korean missiles. Take that. We're going to go back. We're going to change it back to default. I have to point out that guy that's standing right there. This dude right here. That dude, hold on, let's back this ass up a little bit. This guy has a shitty job to just stand still right there. If they fucking stop abruptly, he's just gone.
Yeah.
All these other dudes up here are like smart because they can. What is it right here? They're all braced up against this. They're all good. He's just got a megaphone for some fucking reason. I guess so he can yell at people.
Of course. That's why he's riding in the vehicle.
That's true.
And not standing outside. Supposedly they found out that these are supposedly based on Soviet technology.
Do what?
The missiles.
What are they? They're based on Soviet technology?
Yes.
Like I said, these launcher vehicles are Soviet.
So it makes sense that this is a B-2.
See, these dudes are sitting down too and holding on because they're smart. Yeah, that dude standing up like a pro is just like got the shittiest job. I can see this now. All right, this is a missile. What am I looking at? It goes up and goes boom.
Can it hit America?
Yes.
Launch it now. Hit America.
There you go.
Yeah.
Korean missile.
Korean missile. They didn't just go boom.
Yeah, the meme missiles. Korean meme missiles.
Yep. So finally, we bring it to the current record of December. The last year. So, good news in the beginning of December. The Australian Parliament approved same-sex marriage. It became legal in Australia for same-sex marriage after a historic bill was passed in the House of Representatives. An overwhelming majority of MPs voted to change the Marriage Act 8 days after a similarly decisive result in the Senate. The result brings to about more than an end of robust and often bitter debate on the issue. The legislation sailed through Parliament without amendments after Australians overwhelmingly supported the reform in a voluntary national poll. More than 100 MPs have spoken on the legislation after it was tabled in the House of Representatives. That's good news.
Yes, very good news. Giant Christmas tree appears over Germany. Ah, yes. This is the one where the guy makes a Christmas tree while he's fucking around in a test plane. The pilot got into the festive mood by flying his plane into the shape of a Christmas tree in the skies over Germany. Radar watchers have spotted.
Let's show the picture for the folks.
I will in a minute. The captain left the port city of Hamburg and traced the pattern complete with lights as he flew as far as Stuttgart, about 400 miles away, before returning 5 hours later. And the picture is this picture here. Boom.
Are those lights? It's more like ornaments.
I honestly think they're more like ornaments than lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, like, flying around is pretty cool. What's up with the weird color gradient in it? Like, it turns red here, and it's like super yellow and shit here. Is that, I'm guessing it's speed? Or is it altitude? Because I see vertical speed and ground speed.
Started out really slow and got to cruising speed.
Well, yeah, because it's fucking taken off.
Yeah.
It's quite obvious, but yeah.
Slowed down.
It's apparently a big-ass Airbus. Weird.
I mean, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, apparently.
Airbus just like, oh, we want to fly, you want to fly a Christmas tree around the country?
Go for it.
Go for it.
It's like, yeah, just put fuel in it, fuck it, let them test it.
Yeah, you guys got to fly it anyway, so.
Yep.
Good news for all the marijuana users. Medical marijuana has no public risks, according to WHO. So as we covered, not, but 2 weeks ago, WHO has declared that medical marijuana is beneficial for cancer, epilepsy, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other diseases. They found that the drug is not addictive and holds no public health risks. Declared that CBD, the relaxant property of the cannabis, should not be a scheduled drug. After months of deliberation. So, thank you, WHO, as we said before.
Yes, thank you for the WHO. Haha. Yes, as we covered last week. Donald Trump announces that we can say Merry Christmas again
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you weren't here last week, you might have missed the great announcement by our wonderful President of the United States that we can say Merry Christmas.
With Kenneth's really shitty.
Can say Merry Christmas again. People are saying Merry Christmas again, and we like the sound. Can say Merry Christmas again.
Because it just continues to.
Yeah, I didn't cut this video.
Can say
Blame
Merry
CBS
Christmas.
News. They cut this shitty video.
Oh, they only cut it down to 19 seconds? I thought you said you cut it.
No.
To just this part.
No, they cut the video.
Oh.
That's why it keeps looping. Because they cut this video.
Oh. Well then. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Kenneth.
No, fuck you. Fuck CBS.
Fuck you, Kenneth, and thank you, CBS, for producing this great work.
Yes. Fantastic work. So, for those who felt they needed the President's permission, Donald Trump has declared that we can say Merry Christmas again. He's repeated his vow to end the so-called War on Christmas. A commonly held belief among many of the President's Christian supporters.
And I'm over here like, what war on Christmas? It sounds like the war on terror, a joke. Ah!
The war on drugs.
And the war on drugs.
Yeah, but you know what's the most funniest joke? The war on poverty.
That's what that tax bill's listed, the war on poverty. Ouch. It hurts because I'm going to be affected. You know, so I have to contact the workforce soon, apparently. I'm hoping. Wait, what are you doing? Are you about to delete a bunch of shit? Oh, okay. And in other news, the UN votes resoundingly to reject Trump's recognition of the Jerusalem as capital. As we covered last week, and as we covered weeks before that, our great fearless leader, President Trump, decided that it's totally okay to basically give the Jews Jerusalem, right? Yeah. Because the Israelis Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
But the Israelites are the Jews, so yeah. Give the Jews Jerusalem. In a nutshell. The UN's nations body debate and vote highlighted for a second time in a week the international isolation of the United States over the Jerusalem issue. The United Nations General Assembly has delivered a stinging rebuke to Donald Trump, voting by a huge majority to reject his unilateral recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The vote came after a redoubling of threats by Nikki Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, who said that Washington would remember which countries disrespected America by voting against it. It's like a fucking kid bully, schoolyard bully. I'll remember if you rise against me.
Yeah.
And honestly, as somebody that's gone against people, I laugh. And as somebody that gets people to go against him from time to time, I also laugh. I laugh at both sides. Anytime.
Yeah, but Nikki Haley's a joke.
No, I know. Well, a lot of times people are jokes. Like when they say this shit, it's just like, "Okay, have at me." Even if I am the small minority at this point, 28 member nations are against it, I'd still laugh at them. It's stupid. Despite the warning, 128 members voted on Thursday in favor of the resolution, supporting the long-standing international consensus, which is what we're supposed to wait until they figure it out.
Yeah, we're supposed to wait for them to figure out this two-state solution, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, currently it's just split up into like so many different random territories and bits and pieces.
Yeah. But I kind of wonder what's going to happen to Tel Aviv.
Which was Tel Aviv?
The Israeli city on the coast. Because under the 1967 rules, Tel Aviv is in Palestinian territory. Like Israel's only supposed to have like a small portion of it. Like Tel Aviv ain't even in it. And the thing is, like, either way you put it, it's not going to be good for the Palestinians. Because either it's going to connect back to Israel and then cut Palestine into two states, two separate areas with no connecting land, or it's going to cut off Tel Aviv from Jerusalem, leaving it just its own separate city.
So I have the best idea. They should just take Jerusalem, cut it down the middle, and just give them both.
Yeah.
Literally cut it down the middle and then move it, and then put a fucking demarcation line there.
We're gonna build a wall.
Or as Patrick would say, why don't we just take the city and move it over there? I would laugh if like some shit like that started happening. They just started like stealing fucking pieces and just taking it across the border. That'd be beautiful. I don't know. Or maybe it'll all just get destroyed. Nobody will remember anything.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyways, So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our year in review. Hope you enjoyed it and see.
No, it wasn't our year in review. Stop right there. I still have the most important news of this year.
Sure.
This year was the founding of Speakeasy Gaming, our gaming/streaming community, in which a lot of you people that may or may not ever watch this. I mean, Dakota's a part of it, so Dakota's here, I think. Panda, that too. I don't know whoever else. But anyway, we started that, and that was a thing, and we are a thing, and we do things. Also, the Texas meetup for Cord was also really awesome this year. That was great news. Nobody, did we tell people? Nah. But it was great. It was a good thing that happened.
Yeah, very fun.
So yeah, just great time, I started streaming.
Hopefully it happens in a more convenient city.
He started streaming this year too, and subsequently stopped. But anyway, we got a giant group of people together.
Yeah, we had a great group of people, great group with community, friends and such, and it's a fantastic time.
We do have a fun time. But there we go. Now that I've interrupted you and fucking Kanye West Taylor Swifted you, go.
Gosh.
Hold on. I'll let you finish. But first I gotta say, we're the best damn community ever. Kind of, sometimes. Except for the other day. But anyway.
Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye.
Anyways, so yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Temple Talk Thursday, episode 38. 37.
38. You're like 2038, 2037, 2016, 2012.
2017.
Yep. So then
2017, year in review.
We'll be back on, is it Sunday whenever it's the Boom Boom time?
Yes.
So
we'll be back.
I'll be back on between
Sunday
now and then playing games, I'm sure.
For our IRL New Year celebration stream. We got tons of fireworks and things that we didn't even know existed.
Yeah. It'll mainly probably be on Twitch because I think the Mixer app has some sort of IRL function, but I know Twitch's work, so
so we're going to be streaming on Twitch our explosions.
Yeah. So it'll be great. We'll have a good time. That is if everything
We'll be playing
works.
Phil Collins, and we're going to, right when it hits midnight, we're going to start into that nice...
Oh my god. The drum solo of In This Moment.
No, in the air tonight.
It's in the air tonight, that's right.
In the air.
There's so many of those memes right now. Oh my god. There's the whole drink a fucking bottle, start drinking a bottle of vodka at 11:57.
Oh, Lord.
That's kind of a beautiful rendition of attempting to sing.
I mean, I could do it better, but I was trying. And
somehow I don't believe. But anyway.
Is that a challenge? We'll see. We'll see in New Year's.
Oh no. Alright, goodbye and good night, everybody.
Anyways, good night, everybody, and join us again next week.